You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. My love was in ever again. I lay my cards out on the table. There's nothing to gamble away. But I can promise that you'll never be the same. But I can promise that you'll never be the same.
Welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday. Welcome, everybody. welcome. The Ponder Monkey, welcome. Heat, how's it going? Footlong, how's it going? Derry Bennett, how's it going? Indeed, 28 days left to the election. Mouselander, welcome. How's everybody doing? I hope everyone's doing okay. For the folks in West Florida, on the west coast of Florida, if you haven't done so already, I would highly recommend to evacuate if you have not done so. This is not a storm that you would that you would want to play with. If you cannot evacuate, then head to the shelters. You may need to check your local county. But do not play around with this storm. This storm is very serious, and it has the potential to be incredibly catastrophic. We'll see what the damage ends up being afterwards, but it doesn't look good, folks. It doesn't look good. And to think that there's possibly, from what I was looking at, of course, this is long term, long term, it's difficult to make predictions, but I saw that there is a possibility of another storm forming back after this one. That's interesting. Tampa Mayor said, "Leave or get dead." Yeah, it's very serious. Welcome, Michael Hasser. Yeah, it's that serious. It is that serious. Two in a row. Yep. "28 days left till the election." Yep. But yeah, this is very serious, folks. If you're there, just leave. Leave or get to the nearest shelter. Because this is for real. This is for real. I don't know why. The 28 Days. That's a good movie, by the way. A good zombie movie. Which reminds me, folks, this weekend, if you want to join, we may do an unofficial movie event. So if you want to join, head on over to the Discord, and you can join us. I believe it's this Saturday. If we have the opportunity, we might be able to do a unofficial movie night. Yeah, it could be a contender for a Halloween movie night. There you go. I mean, if we have the ability, we might be able to do one before the official movie night. So who knows? It is spooky season. I don't know what's been going on. I don't know what's been going on with this screen, but it's much. The colors are much different than it was before, and it's messing with my eyes. With just how stark the difference is. I don't remember having this settings. I think my cat might have messed it up, and now I don't know how to adjust the settings on this monitor, on the screen, but that's okay. Anyways, yes, join the Discord, and once again, folks, thank you for hanging out. If you want to keep supporting the channel, there are many different ways. Consider checking out the merch store, and consider checking out the command exclamation mark tip. Yeah, it's optimized optimum cat mode. I'm pretty sure my cat touched something, or maybe it was an update, because that's the only two explanations that make sense. Either the cat was walking on it. I had this map on top of the keyboard, and I don't know if that messed it up, or the cat sitting on top of this might have messed it up. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. Maybe it was an update. Anyways. Even though the left and right side of the hurricane was a joke, it doesn't have useful information in your area that will be affected on the left side of the hurricane path. Focuses on wind, flying debris defense, and right side surge and water defense. Yeah, let me see if I can pull up. I think they said it was the north side. Where am I? Okay, here we are. Yeah, but the north will be the wind damage side. The surge. Okay, the surge is on the south and the wind damage will be on the north. So that thing is gonna enter right here, essentially. Like this is where it's gonna enter. Wait a minute. One second. Come on. There's the new tab. Why isn't it showing me? Okay, let me close this. There we go. So it's gonna make landfall like right here in this area. So everybody that's like from like essentially like from here to the Charlotte Harbor, the Cape, probably all the way up to here. St. Martin, I would say. Um, I would say that they should be gone. Like all this whole entire section there. um, the actual eye of the storm is probably going to end up here in the Tampa Bay area. I've lived in Mississippi on the Gulf my whole life. Had to learn when to hunker down or put on water wings. Evacuated. Yeah, like everybody here should be evacuated. Everybody on this side, like this whole section here, should be gone. Really. I wouldn't take any chances. I hope they are. Me too, honestly. Me too. Me too. Heat with the 100 biddies. Pour one out for Anna K. Oh man, there's not enough salt in the world, okay, there's not enough salt in the world to describe that whole situation, okay? There's not enough salt in the world to describe that situation there. For those of you that may not be aware, Anna Kasparian has finally done officially her Dave Rubin transformation. So yeah, not exactly a shocker, but what is it? It's only a matter of when, not if. Or did I say it backwards? It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when that was going to happen officially. Because she hinted at it before. She made like a similar kind of Why I Left the Left kind of, but not really. But I think this is her this is her last Why I Left the Left. Have fun with the have fun with the Dave Rubin grift. Bye bye. Anna, yep. Like, I will say one thing though, like, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Like, if you're salty about like a couple of people on the left, what does that have to do with your principles? Does that make sense? Because like there are gonna be people on the left that you're not gonna like. There are gonna be people on the left who are gonna be incredibly cringy. But like, what does that have to do with my principles? Right? Like, so I should just drop. So I should just drop. So I should just drop all my principles because of a couple of people on Twitter were being cringe. Like, I don't understand. Which makes me believe, like, maybe shouldn't actually believe in any of that at all whatsoever. And, like, the real grift was her pretending to be remotely remotely anywhere near the left this whole time. That was the grift. You know? And it's like a couple of people made her uncomfortable or whatever. And now like she I guess took that opportunity to bow out. Whatever. That's right. There may be people in your family that you do not like. Your principles have nothing to do with what others say. Correct. Like, even if they're on your side, like, it doesn't matter. The whole point is, like, supposedly. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe me and Anna, maybe me and Anna operate on a different, on a different platform here. But, like, the whole reason why I'm doing this is because I believe in what I'm saying. Does that make sense? Like, I don't care what other pundits are saying, unless like I'm reacting to something. But like, as far as like affecting my principles, like my stances haven't changed, right? Like, even if there are people that are cringy on your side, like, so what? That the stances that I believe in, food, everyone at a minimum should have food, housing, education, healthcare. I believe that labor should be organized. I believe that labor should be democratized. The workplace should be democratized. That's not going to change because Anna Kasparian, is now being cringe, right? Like, I'm not going to drop all that because Anna Kasparian is acting a certain way, right? Or whoever, right? I'm just using her as an example. Or I went on Twitter and somebody said something incredibly cringe, and now I'm gonna drop all my principles at the drop of a hat. Like, that's not how that works. That's not how it should work, right? Right, maybe they didn't have any to begin with. That's exactly where I was going with that, Mouselander. That was the grift, right? The grift was pretending to be some sort of progressive or left-leaning person. That was the grift. Because, like, man, for you to just drop all that because some people were mean to you online or whatever, yeah. For reactionaries, it does. Hey, Cognizant, how's it going? That's exactly it, AT. She was looking for an out. Yeah, I think so. Because, like, you know. But Jank didn't see it. I think that's the funniest part of this whole situation. Because, like, I'm being a little, like, not sarcastic, but whatever. I'm being a little snooty here. But that's actually pretty freaking hilarious because you have Dave Rubin, Jimmy Dore, oh God, who was the other one? Dave Rubin, Jimmy Dore. I feel like there was a third one. I feel like there was a third person from TYT, and Jank didn't see this coming. She wants that propaganda money from Russia, victimized like Rubin. Yeah, she's basically pulling a Rubin. It's kind of like the 10-second rule on dropping food on the ground. You need to realize and reverse or plow through and get labeled with what was said. More money on the right. You should defect. Yeah, true. Yeah, you want to go where the money is? Go to the right. It's really easy. There's no critical thinking involved either. Like, it's so easy. Nana's been planning and put me in since more than a Fifth Street person on the night. Like, honestly, I think that, like, Jank not seeing it is just, like, too funny. Like, I mean, is Jank just gonna go along with this? Because, like, the whole point of the, the whole point or the whole spiel about the Young Turks, it's supposed to be the home of the progressives. But if she claims that she has no home, if she claims that she's going to be like not a progressive, not whatever, then like what is she doing there? Right? Home of the progressives, not for years. Who needs facts when there's vibes? Yep. Silly question. When did they stop being young? It's funny. Anyways. Like Joe Biden says, anyways. Least surprising news ever. Anyways. Hope it was worth it, Anna. I don't know who Jessica Tarlov is. So SNL has been pretty funny. The union stuff and how they treated Hassan was the last straw for me. Bargatz always delivers. Oh, you're talking about SNL. Oh, Jessica Tarlov is the dem on Fox. Gotcha. She got sick of exercising empathy towards the extremes of the spectrum. I don't blame her for that, but she abandoned her principles too. Right, like so that's my point. My point is like I'm questioning whether she had principles to begin with, right? I'm questioning like whether or not like the entire charade was her pretending to be, because like, you know, why else why else would a person be able to just drop all that at the tip of a hat? Excuse me, at the tip of a hat. Because like some people were, you know, some people criticized her, and she went in a direction that that people criticized her for taking positions, like the whole controversy of you know, the birthing person controversy and the crime thing, where she was starting to like basically become actual justice warrior. It just makes no sense other than like, well, it sounds like maybe this person was way too comfortable with just like saying dropping everything, just so that she can be, just so that the vibes align in her head. I think ever since her incident, there's been mental and emotional damage that was not properly taken care of and ended up with brain rot. Who knows? Honestly, because it's like, it's just very strange. It's just very strange because like, do I find people, you know, cringe on like on our side, on the left? Yeah, sure. But like, I don't sit here and freaking like talk about it, right? I don't sit here and like freaking like talk about it and like make content about it. Um, unless there's like something there that like I feel like it's important to like criticize or important to talk about. Um, It just doesn't compute in my head. Other than, like, she was finally done, and, like, you know what? I'm just gonna drop it. I'm just gonna drop the act. You know. I'm just gonna drop the act. When I see something wrong on either side, I call it out. That's fine, right? Like, that's fair. That's fine. But, like, the problem is, like, you just completely shifting your entire, like, ideology, because, you know, somebody said something wrong or irked you or whatever, you know, or is being cringe on Twitter. Like, if I criticize something on the left, that's not gonna stop me. That's not gonna stop me from being on the left. Does that make sense? Because, like, that's not the issue. If you want to call something out that you feel you have umbrage on, you know, you have umbrage with, then fine. That's fair. That's fine. But, you know, to then just, like, drop everything that you proclaim to care about, that seems just like, come on. Weak principles. It was fashionable for her. Yeah, I dropped the act ages ago. Like, it's just no point. It's exhausting. You know, there's no point. Especially when you're a personality. Especially being a personality as big as Anna, the Young Turks. You know, they're pretty big. You know, there's only so long you can keep that going, you know? There's only so long you can keep that going before eventually it slips. Precisely. It's like lying all the time. Right. I seem guilty of shifting ideology, but most often it's just the results of the topic. Women should have the right to their body, so I sound lib. I also want less taxes, so I sound Republican. My comment was to point out that Anna's acting like the anthill in our mountains while ignoring the Republican mountain that is hitting Pluto at this point. Right, and then claiming, like, the left is the problem. So flipping is often the case of being bipartisan. Yeah, but this isn't, like, just flipping on certain topics. Like, this is just, like, completely dropping the principles you claim to have, right? Does that make sense? Like, I'm not going to drop my principles because some people... because I find that some people on my side... cringy. Does that make sense? I swear I'm not that inebriated, just clumsy today. Did you take care of that clown, Michael Hassler? I stopped the message from going through. In the meantime, I think it was them. I don't know. Some person was just trying to be a clown. Anyways. I just denied it, but I looked for them and I couldn't find them. Yeah, I denied it too. And, yeah, I couldn't find them. There he goes. Well, it's okay. He's gone now. I couldn't find them either. Like, I was going to go back up. I was going to stop the message and go back up, but, you know, these Twitch moderation controls sometimes are so clunky. Sometimes, like, sometimes automod doesn't come through. Sometimes you lose, you lose mod actions that you were trying to get to. It's a thing, but that's okay. Thank you.
As you all know, Hurricane Helene has ravaged multiple states in the south, with a death toll now surpassing 30 people, which is a very, very high number for a hurricane. And for those who were lucky enough to survive, many of them have lost everything in the aftermath. So if you were affected by this, I am genuinely sorry. This is truly a nightmare situation. And to make matters worse, people in Florida are now bracing for Hurricane Milton, which is another Category 5 hurricane with 175 mile per hour winds. So it's hit after hit, and this truly is heartbreaking. But in the short term, obviously politicians should be doing everything that they can to support local and state efforts to mitigate damage. And in the long term, obviously, they should see this as a reminder that climate change needs to be addressed at some point, preferably in the short term, because we were warned that climate change would increase the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events. And that's playing out before our very eyes. Yet we're still having a debate about whether or not it's even real, because the people who run this country are genuinely insane. But while people's lives are being destroyed right now, Donald Trump isn't thinking about them. He's thinking about ways he can use this national catastrophe to demonize immigrants. And it didn't take long before other Republicans started to parrot his latest lie about immigrants.
I was wondering how bad it hit Mexico. I'm pretty sure like that little section there before it did its curve got hit pretty bad, I'm sure. If the U.S. actually taxed the rich and reduced funds to boat-grade government holes, we could enact all the social benefit programs and reduce taxes on everyone that make less than $150K, even as individual. Yeah, I think that, like, just to address this real quick before we move on, I think that, like, instead of, like, talking about, like, reducing taxes on people, why not increase taxes on the rich? As you said, tax the rich. That would provide an avenue for providing the resources that we need. There's a hurricane on course for Paris too. Very strange times. Yep, I think it's the first time in Europe too that something like this was actually able to reach there. I'm pretty sure that's another like first.
Well, they're doing a very bad job. They've given over $1 billion to illegal migrants that came in, and now they have no money for North Carolina, for Georgia, for South Carolina, and Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. I think that's a disgrace.
They stole the FEMA money just like they stole it from a bank so they could give it to their illegal immigrants that they want to have vote for them this season.
They're hearing from the DHS secretary they're out of money to help them, but they still have money to help people who have come to this country illegally.
You know, whether it's money, $1 billion that's been allocated for illegals that's not coming here to Western North Carolina.
So after spreading the lie cooked up by the neo-Nazi group Blood Tribe about Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio eating pets, he's now claiming that we don't have enough money for hurricane relief because Biden stole that money to give it to immigrants.
Right. So there has been so much misinformation like that's been happening around the disaster of Hurricane Helene, and it's pretty freaking gross. It's disgusting. All these far right politicians, these pundits, these far right pundits like Stu Peters and all these other conspiracy theory whack jobs who have been doing this are actively harming people. They're actively harming people that need help with lies. They're saying stuff like this, like FEMA's out of they're taking money from FEMA to give to immigrants. They're saying stuff like they're attacking they're attacking like aid stations, that they're not taking aids anymore. They're not giving out aids anymore. They're arresting people. FEMA is arresting people. FEMA is saying that you have to pay back the money or else they'll like take your property. Like there are all kinds of like just straight up fabrications, delusions, because it's not true. And people who need the help aren't aren't going to get it, aren't going to get the help that they need.
So that way they'll vote for Kamala Harris. You have to understand here, there are layers to the bullshit. First and foremost, non-citizens are not eligible to vote in federal elections. Second of all, Congress is who appropriates funds for FEMA, not the president, although the president can call on agencies to reallocate funds, but Biden hasn't done that. And
and also, like, all the people that have voted against the funding of FEMA are all Republicans, okay? So all these, like, so simultaneously, like, now they're, like, arguing that FEMA needs more resources, when literally just months ago they were talking about how, like, you know, the Alex Jones conspiracy theory about how FEMA is going to put everybody in camps. Like, okay, dude, so which is it? Do you want FEMA help or do you not? Like, it's just, like, so absurd. And you can also see, like, how this cult mentality plays out, right? Because, like, just not that long ago, FEMA was a terrible, horrific, dystopic organization that was going to put conservatives and Christians in camps. And now FEMA is a underfunded program that's not capable to give enough aid to people. Yeah, that's true, Footlong. They say all this crap like it's not budgeted out for months in advance. They act like government just opens a wallet at the moment's notice and just dole out billions to whoever suits Biden's fancy. Yeah, and like even then, like, you know that Congress can call a special session and allocate more funds. Like if that was the case, that this was like a emergency where FEMA needed more money, like now, Mike Johnson can call a special session of Congress and vote on this, right? Living in the path of storms and then wondering where your help is does make me lean right. Well, leaning right is what's actually actively not helping. Some situations need help, but this can't be an open faucet. Well, it kind of needs to be. Like, the whole point of government is this exactly, right? Like, out of all the things that you want government to do, you would want them to have plenty of resources and access for this very reason. So, like, I don't know. Like, I can't imagine why anybody would lean right on this, given the fact that, like, only right-leaning people have voted actively against the very programs that are designed to help. These storms have been intensifying at an alarming rate. It's not those folks' fault. Yeah, I agree. We are living in unprecedented times, because we are living in unprecedented times because of the climate crisis. This is it. This is it, folks. You want to know what the climate crisis looks like? It looks like this. And expect this to be more of the norm. Now, I would say Biden has not returned to where it was, but two problems with that. One, do you really see Republicans increasing funding for anything when they are in charge? They wouldn't even do it for the border of their main priority, which is their main priority. Right. Like, not even that long ago, they were talking about, like, the conspiracy theories about FEMA and camps.
Funny enough, Congress just had a vote on September 25th, actually, to approve an additional $20 billion in funding for disaster relief. And let's just take a look at how Republicans voted. As you can see from this list provided by Newsweek, nearly 100 Republicans voted against FEMA funding, including Republicans in states literally affected by the hurricane, like Matt Gaetz and Byron Donalds of Florida, Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, Senators Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, and also Tim Scott of South Carolina. Now, to be clear, that $20 billion isn't enough, because the estimated cost of the damage due to Hurricane Helene is around $160 billion. So there needs to be more.
Yeah, and, like, again, so this, man, this is so frustrating, because, like, we've been talking about this since forever and a half. But, like, man, you know, how sustainable are $100 billion events that happen every freaking year? Every freaking hurricane season. And God knows what this one's going to end up being. This is just not sustainable. God knows how much this is going to end up costing Florida between Helene and Milton.
But if you voted against FEMA funding and you live in a state affected by it, you're just a monster.
There's a rhythm in the markets. And if you want to learn to listen for it, we'll show you how.
Now, Brian Mast, a Florida representative who also voted against that $20 billion in FEMA funding, made a really interesting suggestion, writing on Twitter, "I'm demanding Joe Biden and Kamala Harris immediately claw back the millions set for Gaza and divert it to American families affected by Hurricane Helene. American tax dollars should feed our families here at home, not fuel our foes abroad." Now, Brian Mast is giving away the game here because the millions of dollars in aid that we've given to Gaza pales in comparison to the estimated $22.8 billion that we've given to Israel to carry out the genocide of the people in Gaza. And Brian Mast in particular called for Congress to rush additional funding for weapons and bombs to Israel. So he votes against disaster relief funding for Americans after repeatedly voting to send money to Israel for bombs. And he's now grandstanding about us needing to use American tax money on Americans. Interesting. But I mean, it's not surprising because Brian Mast is a sociopath who suggested that Palestinian babies were terrorists in order to justify their murder. But I mean,
Yeah, like also, yeah, it's pretty like inconsistent, right? Because like if you're complaining about like hundreds of millions of dollars, but not billions, like, man.
if you're going to lie to us, at least spare us the political theater because we already know that you're lying and you don't actually care about Americans. Otherwise, you would have voted that way. Now, I want to talk about Senator Lindsey Graham. So, to his credit, he did vote for that FEMA funding that Brian Mast and other Republicans voted against. Now, it's not enough, which is why, as Newsweek reports, President Joe Biden said Monday he may call Congress back into session during a break to pass emergency supplemental funding, as some lawmakers from states hit by Helene have urged. Now, to be fair, I don't know how Lindsey Graham would vote if another vote came up, but I do know that on Fox News, he changed the topic real quick when discussing the hurricane to make a case for even more money going to Israel.
You know, I've been going all over South Carolina like most people. I hadn't slept much. But look what's going on in Israel. Our friends in Israel are surrounded by people that want to kill them, destroy them, a second Holocaust in the making. And Biden says be proportional. What is the proportional response to people who want to kill you and your family? God. They're running out of ammunition in Israel. We have to help our friends to keep the war over there from coming here.
Yes, because Hamas is definitely going to kill all of us here in America if we...
Yeah, it's true. Hamas is preparing transatlantic paragliders as we speak. That's very true.
We don't give more money to Israel, a rogue state run by a war criminal doing a genocide. Amazing. So understand that as Republicans and Donald Trump continue to complain and say that the Biden administration is diverting funds away from Americans to assist migrants, they don't actually care about our tax dollars helping us because they're not voting that way, and they all support more money going to Israel. So they're hypocrites and they just hate migrants and Gazans as well. But right now, they're trying to pretend as if we could be using our tax dollars in a better way to help the people here at home when they're just not voting that way.
Right, like you would assume that you'd be against all of it, right? Don't forget the attack mice. I don't think many people call baby terrorists. It's about who to blame when a baby dies. It's parents. Is it the parents who choose to live in a war zone, or the person who launches a drone, or the person who commands to launch a drone? Saying called babies terrorists made me laugh. Well, I mean, he's a freaking monster, man. That's pretty disgusting. So, like, you know what the insinuation is, right? It's okay to kill Palestinian children because they're all Hamas, right? Like that's the implication that he made. Because that's the justification that he wants to use to kill those children.
Or advocating
or when faced with the fact that, like, you know, these children are being bombed to death, that's how he, in his twisted mind, he finds that, way to rationalize it. Blue Brother, welcome.
For that kind of policy. right? We're using tax dollar money to indiscriminately slaughter brown people, and they have no qualms with that. They're not saying anything about the amount of money we're spending on Israel. So long as our money is being used to kill and maim people, they couldn't care less about Americans. We could die, and they wouldn't give a single shit unless there's a political opportunity there, something to exploit. Then they feign concern for Americans. Otherwise, they're nowhere to be seen. But putting aside their xenophobia, it's just not true that Biden took money from FEMA and gave it to...
Now take a time out. Come on, man. You can't be saying stuff like that. You can't be saying stuff like that.
Immigration. So DHS Secretary Mayorkas said that they have funding to meet immediate needs for victims of Hurricane Helene. But since another hurricane is hitting, he did say that they need more money because they don't have enough to make it through hurricane season. Now, Trump has used that quote and he's twisted it and claimed that the Biden administration said that they don't have enough money for the current disaster when that's not what Mayorkas said. But Trump then claimed that the Biden administration stole the money from DHS's FEMA fund to funnel it to immigrants. But Biden has not done that, nor has he called on DHS to reallocate funding. But do you want to know who did do this before? Take a guess. Donald J. Trump when he was president, because as the Washington Post reports, in 2019, the Trump administration in the middle of hurricane season told Congress that it was taking $271 million from DHS programs, including $155 million from the disaster fund to pay for immigration detention space and temporary hearing locations for asylum seekers who had been forced to wait in Mexico. Quote, the U.S. is facing a security and humanitarian crisis on the southern border, the administration said, and it's noted.
Yeah, but you see, if you apply that same logic, Footlong, they'll say, people like that will say like, oh, well, you're just persecuting all Christians. You see, they want all Christians dead. That's the icing on top. Because if you put that logic back, they'll just say that you just want to, eradicate all Christians. But they can't seem to conceptualize how bad that is when they say that about like Palestinian children.
That it was redirecting the funds. The monthly reports issued by the FEMA Disaster Fund show $38 million was plucked and given to Immigration and Customs Enforcement in August that year, just before the prime storm period of September and October. So ironically, Donald Trump did exactly what he's accusing Joe Biden of doing, except that he diverted funds away from disaster relief to hurt immigrants for the most part, and when he did it, it wasn't stealing, but if Joe Biden were to do it, that would be stealing. And I love this assumption that Biden has any interest whatsoever in helping immigrants, especially after boosting a border bill written by a literal Republican. But I mean, this is what Donald Trump does. He lies about immigrants because the ends justify the means. 30 plus bomb threats in Springfield, Ohio as a result of the Nazi lie that he spread isn't some unintended consequence. It is the desired outcome of his lies. And now, who knows how suffering Americans are going to react after being falsely told that their tax dollars are going to be used to help violent immigrants as opposed to them. And that's not hyperbole. Donald Trump is constantly reinforcing this idea that all immigrants aren't just an inconvenience, but they're undesirable at a minimum, and at most, they're downright monsters who pose a direct threat to you and your family, and now Biden's helping them. He's putting them before you. Case in point, listen to what he says about immigrants.
She wants to go into government housing. She wants to go into government feeding. She wants to feed people. She wants to feed people governmentally.
Oh, no. Wow, she wants to feed people. Man, that's really horrible. I can't imagine what kind of monster would want to feed people and give them housing. I assume the budget included money for the anticipated hurricanes. It's not enough, to be quite frank.
She wants to go into a communist party type system. When you look at the things that she proposed...
Oh, yeah. She doesn't want to feed people. She wants to feed them governmentally. Whatever that means. Welcome, Fomashina.
They're so far off. She has no clue. How about allowing people to come through an open border 13,000 of which were murderers. Many of them murdered far more than one person.
13,000 specifically are murderers. Okay, we got a specific number there. 13,000 murderers. Amazing.
And they're now happily living in the United States. You know, now a murderer, I believe this, it's in their genes. And we got a lot of bad genes in our country right now.
That's some Nazi shit, man. That's some genuine Nazi shit. That's like they're poisoning the blood of our country level Nazi shit. Jesus Christ.
It's from today. Notice how the more he talks about immigrants, the more Hitlerian he sounds. There are so many people in this country with the murder genes, according to him. And Harris wants to feed them and house them. They're housing all of these bad people when we don't have enough money for them.
Right, and there's nothing we can do about it because genetically that's it. So I guess we're going to have to redact, I guess we're going to have to redacted them. You see where this is going? This is freaking disgusting. This is disgusting because, like, what do you do, with the people with the murder genes, right? It's in their genes. There's nothing you can do about it, right? Well, there is one thing.
Americans who are currently in need. So that's what he's pushing to people. He's creating this us versus them mentality at a time when Americans are desperate, rightfully so, because of this hurricane. And these are the kinds of dangerous lies that he is disseminating on a daily basis. But I mean, it's interesting that he of all people would bring up murder genes, because if it is innate, then we all know that he definitely has the murder gene since he's currently full-throatedly supporting Israel's genocide in Gaza. And as president, he vetoed a bipartisan resolution that would have ended U.S. complicity in Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen, which led to 85,000 children under the age of 5 dying within 3 years as a result of malnutrition, as a direct result of Saudi Arabia starving and bombing them with weapons supplied by the U.S. government. And Donald Trump chose to continue that slaughter, when both Republicans and Democrats actually came together and said, hey, maybe we should stop murdering innocent civilians for once.
Entirely possible, though, those 13,000 crossed the border long enough to buy guns in bulk to take back with them to Mexico and Central America. Sure, the goal, the true goal the entire time.
But he was like, nope, I'm the only one who stands alone here. It's ridiculous. So the real threat to Americans, it's not immigrants. It's fascist Republicans like Donald Trump. And all of this bullshit about immigrants is nothing more than projection, because he called them murderers and rapists when he is literally a murderer and a rapist himself. But I'm imploring you all to reject these divisive Nazi-esque lies that he keeps spreading about immigrants, because this is something that he is using specifically for political purposes. And I know that you and I know this, right? But it's our neighbors who don't know it. It's our family members who don't know that. They don't know that he is purposefully putting us against them, because that's how he thinks he could win an election. Exploit every single issue, make it about immigrants, use them as the scapegoat always, and that's how he's trying to win. But he doesn't give a fuck about you, and he certainly doesn't care if you're in dire straits right now and you're struggling to get by. He's using immigrants as a scapegoat so you can elect him, and then he can get in office and cut his own taxes again. But at the end of the day, we are not using disaster relief money on immigrants. But even though that's not what's happening, I can assure you that if there's always more than enough money for bombs, there's certainly more than enough money to take care of everyone in this country, including immigrants who are hardworking people that are here to try to make a better life for themselves.
True. Yeah, you would think so, Blue Brother. You would assume, like Michael Hasser says, you would assume we're a logical country, but, you know, we didn't allocate enough resources for that. And when we tried, Republicans voted against it. So, yeah. Cool. I haven't seen this clip, but I think this is probably going to be very funny. I think this is the Russell Brand clip when Russell Brand is praying with in that event with Jordan Peterson. From the thumbnail, it looks like Jordan Peterson is wearing his comic book villain suit, the Two-Face suit. I watched this, I think. I haven't seen it. Russell Brand seems to have made the the appropriate shift in the grift by declaring himself Christian. Let's take a look.
I look at this and I honestly think, like, is this the Rescue the Republic, or is this like an SNL parody of it? And I want to make it clear, like, I don't think the SNL parody would be that much more entertaining than this either. But this does not look real to me. It looks like it's so bizarre what they have done here. And everybody thought they were going to make a lot of cash, and they didn't, and they're pissed.
As somebody who's been following Russell Brand for about 15 years, not always as a fan, he is not sincere about this at all.
No.
Yeah, like that's kind of like the point, right? The reason it feels that way, the reason it feels like an act, is because it is. What's up with all these freaking, like, buy more viewers bots, like these viewer bots that, like, want to offer you cheap viewers? What is up with this? I'm glad, by the way, Seribot updated their list, because, like, the reason why they're all getting, like, preemptively banned is because the person who programmed Seribot has been working to get rid of these cheap viewer, buy viewers bots. Consider banning the word viewers. That's okay. The bot is on it. The bot will take care of it. It's just, I'm just like flabbergasted. There's so many of these. We had like 5 already by now. Anyways, maybe Anna will pull a Russell Brand next. Who knows? Who knows how far the grift is gonna go?
Oh, I saw him do a live show in Atlantic City in 2013 or 2012. It was a part of his Messiah Complex tour. He had large photos up on the stage that included Che Guevara and Jesus Christ. He started talking about how Jesus was a communist. It was a very funny show. In Atlantic City, there were a lot of people there for the casino, so they just wandered in, and a lot of, like, Republican types walked out in outrage because he was calling Jesus Christ a communist. But since then, there have been some credible sexual assault allegations leveled at Russell Brand, not getting a ton of work in Hollywood anymore. So here we are.
Yep.
I'm Eugene Vindman. I'm a Democrat running for Congress in a district we must win. It's expensive. If I have your permission.
Oh my goodness. Who knows if Cenk will. So sum it up, every single hurricane still hits by surprise. It happens every year, but you still can't think of preparing in your budget. At least it's astonishing. Yeah, we have all these resources, all this money for war, and we give all these goodies away to corporations, but yeah, we can't seem to have a decent fund for natural disasters or anything like that. I mean, like, look, half the political spectrum doesn't even believe in the climate crisis. So we're up the creek without a paddle. What can I say? we're up the creek without a paddle. Okay.
Mission, I would like to end in a short prayer on this holy and auspicious day.
Oh, incidentally, I should just say,
I'm sorry, it's just so freaking funny. This guy, like, I don't believe him for a second, okay? I don't believe him for a second. Can we get a rewind on that?
So here we are.
If I have your permission, I would like to end in a short prayer on this holy and auspicious day.
Oh, incidentally, I should just say, Sunday, September 29th in the calendar is not a holy day. Unless you...
Well, the Rescue the Republic is that day.
Is that a Christian holiday now?
It is.
Rescue the Republic Day?
Judeo-Christian.
I didn't, yeah. Oh, okay.
Right.
And if I have your permission, I would like to end in a short prayer on this holy and auspicious day.
Okay, pause it for a second. Go back, because you can even, when Jordan Peterson has to take a step back from you and
just
thinks
kinda
that
crazy.
you might be a little bit not sure what he's going to do here.
A little bit too much.
Look at Jordan's body language here. You'll notice what happens when game sees game.
This is two competing Messiah complexes, and one is
Exactly.
winning.
Wait a second. I don't think this corporal saint has enough room for two of us transcendent beings here on stage. Sir, I was going to say, let's get on our knees and pray before you did this. I'm the one who said this was a holiday. But watch how he's steps, he leans back and they realize, I think I'm probably going to have to take a step here.
Free speech, not personalities.
He's coming closer. He's coming closer.
I would like to end
in
a short prayer
step
on
back.
this holy and
Slowly.
auspicious day.
Yes, there we go. Okay, you're going to pray. I'll get down on my knees.
Yeah, Jesus. Come on, man. You can drop the act, dude. You don't have to go this far, man. I like that emote. Redolent thought. I like that one. I just want him to start singing about furry walls. He has way too much fun with the voice. Yep. Dude, you don't gotta try this hard, man. Yeah, no ideas here. Only unregulated, self-serving feelings. Yep. That's why we're here to laugh, honestly, at this segment, because, Jesus Christ. This guy.
Lord Jesus Christ, I call upon your name on this occasion. May it augment an era of peace. May we reach out our hands in friendship.
Well, pause it for a second. Now look at that huge ideological swath of everybody's at this place, not praying. And also, the camera's set up in the center, and this is not a big crowd.
Yeah.
I feel...
But he does. This is how he makes his money.
Yep. There could be 200 people there.
And I think this is the closest a lot of them have gotten to
the
church.
Speaker list is maybe...
If you use the emote in Redolent Thoughts chat, a Sam Cedar quote plays. That's freaking awesome. That's freaking awesome. I like that.
1/4 the size of the crowd that has showed up. All right, everybody.
We would oppose. May these institutions that were once regarded sacred, so sacred in fact that any incursion upon them as on January 6th was regarded as a kind of heresy. May the values that warrant these buildings, these institutions, that flag, this nation, being regarded as one nation under God, return to the forefront. May I pray, Lord Jesus Christ, in your holy name, that all Americans of all cultures and colors and persuasions come together in your name. I ask, Heavenly Father, for a new era of peace, that Satan be cast out in your name in all his forms, but in
there's nothing better than the construct of, I hope that Americans of all colors, of all creeds and all persuasions recognize that they should be Christian. And you are the Christian God and you're the true God. I mean, I want to say I both appreciate the fact that everybody has a difference of opinion and tell you it's time to get with the program.
It's amazing.
Satan be cast out in your name in all his forms, but in particular in the bizarre, Kafkaesque, Huxley-esque, Orwellian form of totalitarianism, bureaucracy in the name of care.
Jordan Peterson's laughing.
Peterson's laughing. Peterson's laughing. Then he realized, like, oh, this isn't supposed to be the funny part.
No, he's not.
Go back. This isn't supposed.
Oh, we just missed a moment of gold. Oh my goodness. We just missed a moment of gold.
To be the funny part?
Okay.
Oh my God.
Are they behind bulletproof glass?
Oh, they definitely are.
Okay, I just want to, I've observed that. I think they may be, Peterson's laughing earnestly, not laughing in the way we are. He's like, oh, you called it Kafkaesque. How on point.
Is he not
I'm
crying?
not sure. I think Peterson is like.
Oh, that's the kind of rhetorical flourish that he would adore, though. He anything that sounds intelligent to him is intelligent. It doesn't matter.
I think Peterson is literally having one of those moments. I should say this morning when I woke up, I had carbs. And so I'm feeling a little bit less than completely insane at the moment.
Oh, that's why he didn't break down in tears on stage.
And when he started to say Kafkaesque and within the context of the prayer to the Almighty Lord, that's when I just lost it and then realized, wait, I'm in front of a whole crowd of at least 250 people. I better make it like I'm serious again about the prayer part. Okay, go. Just watch him.
In particular in the bizarre, Kafkaesque, Huxley-esque, late Orwellian form of totalitarianism, bureaucracy.
Oh, dang it, I clicked the wrong one.
True democracy.
Hello, I'm Martin Sheen with an urgent question. Of course, I'm supporting Kamala Harris 100%.
I missed it.
That every individual may feel their freedom to open heart.
Now he starts crying.
Now he goes crying.
Whoa!
Discourse and conversation with one another.
Short books like that are Kafka, and
Republicanism.
I'm serious again about the prayer part. Okay, go.
Like that was genuine, by the way. That reaction by Peterson was genuine.
Just watch him.
In particular in the bizarre, Kafkaesque, Huxley-esque, late Orwellian form of totalitarianism, bureaucracy in the name of care.
I'm sorry, you can't fake that. That was real. He was like, you can almost see him like look up. Like, let me just rewind. You can almost see him look up.
Huxley-esque, late Orwellian form of totalitarianism, bureaucracy in the name of care. Lord, I ask for true republicanism and true democracy.
I'm going to pretend like I'm serious again. You know what it was that set me off is when he included Huxley.
Oh, he's crying.
Huxley-esque. Is he?
Okay, keep.
Well, now I'm going to try and cry.
I at first thought he was crying, but that initial reaction was laughter because Russell Brand mentioned Kafka, and he's a college
Not
professor.
just Kafka. Huxley-esque.
Right, exactly.
Kafka-esque. He asked all the top 3 autodidactic faves.
These are my favorite references.
These are the ones that you read if you, you've got the big Dallas Huxley, right? Brave New World.
Frankly, all short books like that are
all the books that you read in junior high. And
200
that's
pages.
where
They
you
weren't
cement your entire worldview on.
Era of peace, that Satan be cast out in your name in all his forms, but in particular in the bizarre, Kafkaesque, Huxley-esque, late Orwellian form of totalitarianism in the name of care. Lord, I ask for true republicanism and true democracy, that every individual may feel their freedom to open heart.
Now he starts crying.
Now he goes crying.
Whoa!
Discourse and conversation with one another in good faith.
You can see the end of the crowd there.
Deception, the lies,
Look at
and
the
the
bulletproof
censorship and the
glass.
control. Respect the honor of the individual, the
And they're not
sovereignty
putting
of the
their life on the line.
individual, that we are all fallen individuals and
these
that we
hogs.
may serve in your name on the day of the feast of St. Michael. I ask, Lord, that your holy light shine on America.
Maybe
and
a
across
pause it.
the
I'm
world
sorry.
for
I want to
you.
apologize. It was the 29th, the Feast of St. Michael,
I have to check my calendar.
because I will cop to not knowing that. B, cop to not knowing what that is, even if that was on that day.
Michaelmas is a Christian festival observed in many Western Christian liturgical calendars
Oh, it
on
is.
September 29th.
It
And
is.
Harvest, I guess. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I've
All
never-
right. So there it was.
Samuel, you should have researched this.
And that explains also why there was so few people there. They must have all been at church.
That makes sense.
And they couldn't come on that day.
I ask, Lord, that your holy light shine on America and across the world for new voluntary unity, not imposed top-down unity, Lord. Lord, I ask...
Pause it for a second. Wait. I mean, am I the only person who finds the sort of irony of asking the Lord to create voluntary unity? Not
right, like so what he's saying is, I don't want top-down unity. I want top-down unity. I guess the good top-down unity is the Christian one, I guess, right? That one's the okay one. That one's the okay authoritarian forced unity.
Not top-down unity, Lord, above me.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
is it?
Well, the whole thing's hierarchical.
I just want to say, I know there's a lot of people out there who are offended because I'm mocking a guy praying. But I'm only doing this because this is what the old Russell Brand would have wanted me to do.
True. Like, let's be very clear. Like, he's not Christian, okay? This dude is not, Christian, okay? This is a grift. This is an act. He's an actor. He's not a Christian. He doesn't believe a single thing he's saying, at all. Okay? Just to be very clear. He's saying, God, don't make us hurt them. That's how the real religious zealots and fanatics hear that. That's actually a very good point. That's exactly how they interpret that. Globus the Elder, what up? Hey, how's it going?
So
howdy.
The Russell Brand turned up to MTV after 9/11 dressed up as Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, right. That guy. But he's redeemed now, so don't even look into the past, and do not Google his sexual assault allegations because he's redeemed.
Yeah, how he behaved on St. Trinian's, for instance.
You have been... It's St. Michael's Feast of the Arbor, and you, my friend, have been absolved.
Principles under your name. I pray for America, and if I have your permission, ladies and gentlemen, we'll end with the Lord's Prayer. Just do the version that you know. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Encourage people
thy kingdom
with
come,
and try
thy
to
will be done on earth.
Bro, please. Nobody buys this, okay? I'm sorry. Nobody is buying this, okay? Nobody's buying this BS. Okay?
Earth is in heaven. Give us this day daily bread,
if I can.
and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not
and
into
accuse us of
temptation,
crimes
but
to the
deliver
press.
us from evil.
You've really learned your lines, Russell.
Power and the
Forgive
glory
everyone,
forever
especially
and
me.
ever. Amen. Hallelujah.
He's an actor. I'll never buy anything that comes with a prayer. I don't. You know what? I don't blame you. I'm gonna be honest. That's the worst Jordan Peterson impression, but I love it.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Peterson. Thanks, Brett Weinstein. Thanks, everyone engaged in this event.
This is not a big crowd of people.
No, but I've spotted like 6 MAGA hats.
Do you think that Russell Brand is gonna like start his own church?
Oh.
I mean, like, that's a good bet. Like, what's the over under? Because, like, you know, when we used to cover, we've done a couple of Russell Brand videos because, like, I found that, like, just the gross level of, like, misinformation that he was spreading warranted a response. But at some point, like, we just it's just too much. Because, like, there's nothing to go. Like, he's so far away from reality that, like, it's just not. It is an exercise in futility. It is an exercise in futility. And so, you know, during that time of coverage, like, that guy looks like I don't know if I commented it live, but he looks like a freaking cult leader, okay? He looks and sounds like a cult leader. The way he speaks in his videos, if you've had the misfortune of either being in the chat when we've played the videos, or have stumbled across the videos, or have seen responses to the videos, if you've listened to him speak, he sounds like a cult leader. Like, the entire vibe is just like, this dude's a cult leader. So it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up starting his own church where he can finally like be his ultimate form of like a literal cult leader, like an actual cult leader with a church with an actual physical presence. That's not just his YouTube channel. I like those little frogs, the rhizome frogs. I'm still an atheist. Milton is a category 5 now. Jesus, it's back to category 5? Holy. Man. Or more precisely, agnostic. Yeah, I think that's actually where I would say, I would say I am too. If you want a really interesting take on religion, take a look at Dark Matter 2525 on YouTube. You're living in a horror story video. I feel like you might have suggested that to me at some point, maybe, because I remember you suggesting Dark Matter before. Maybe I'll have to take a look at that at some point. Look at this thing, chat. I'm an atheist. There is no God. It's up to someone else to prove that there is. Right. The burden of proof is the burden of proof is on the person making the claim. Yes. This thing is a monster. Which dot is it on? Right now it's on it's right here. The landfall has its square like heading towards like the center of the cone is like right on Sarasota basically. Look at that. But quite frankly, anybody on the west side that's on this red right here, like anyone that's on this red side over here should probably be like evacuated at this point. If you cannot evacuate, please head to shelters. There are shelters open that will be away from the storm surge because that's the problem. The storm surge in the area where this thing ends up, landing anywhere between this cone, right? Surge wherever this lands, it's going to be double digits of storm surge. Like, we're talking potentially up to 15 feet of storm surge. A friend of mine was in Tampa, lost everything but his life. Jesus Christ. Was that during Helene? Where are we? In Tampa? Over here. Was that in Helene? Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, and to think that, like, whoever didn't get, like, mauled by Helene is gonna get Milton. That's just wild. If you can, just don't be here or seek shelter, because it is very, 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 very dangerous. This is a very serious storm. 15 to 20 feet last I heard. I believe it. I believe it. Look at this. Look at this. Jacksonville's supposed to get 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. Where's Jack? Jeez, and that's all the way over here. That's on the complete opposite side. Wow. Wow. So as you can see, like, if you if you were on the Discord yesterday, the reason why I didn't stream was because I was on standby, because there's people, a friend of mine has family here in Cape Coral, and they were leaving, and my friend was in Port St. Lucie, which now is in the cone and in the red zone. So, man, this is bad. As Cognizant said, this is about to just cut the state through here. This is a very serious storm, folks. Where's Fort Myers? I feel like Fort Myers is here somewhere. Where is it? It's Clearwater. That's Tampa. This map isn't very good because it's just the let me go back to my other map. I actually like this map. Here it is. I was going north. This is Fort Myers right here. So if you want to see it in context, it's right at the Cape. So I know where we are now. We're going way to... Fort Myers is about here. Fort Myers is just south of that cone. Like, you see where the little Cape Coral dot is? Fort Myers is just south of that cone. I was like, if you see it here, like, oh wait, no, it's just inside the cone, I think. It's just inside, because if the Cape's right here, Yeah, it's just inside. Look, here it is. It's popping up now. Fort Myers is just inside that cone. Is Disney World in Orlando closed for Hurricane Milton? Walt Disney theme parks are currently operating as usual, but they have suspended the ability to make park reservations for Tuesday. Cool. Thanks. Wow.
That'd be pretty
I
good.
think that's sort of what his YouTube channel is.
But the church would be tax exempt.
Right.
Do Scientology, Russell Brand, please. Something to that effect.
I hate when people trust.
That sounds like something like Russell Brand would do, honestly. Like Scientology kind of fits, honestly.
That's against me, like when they mention that I behaved poorly on a film set.
Emma Majority Report. As a Palestinian American, I'm getting some tough questions. Why should the USA have the right to exist now? Just like Israel, we are enabling and supporting a genocide, and even the country was conceived after a genocide of natives here. Just like Israeli administration, we are imperial war hawks who keep plundering nations and destabilizing them all over. U.S. shouldn't exist the way it is. It needs to be obliterated. I'm not sure I understand what the question is. I mean, I think Ta-Nehisi Coates had a good way of phrasing it in terms of countries don't need rights to exist. It is really, it's a formulation of power. Do I think that America should not be imperialist? Yes, I agree with that. Is it unjust? Yes, I agree with that. I mean, I don't know beyond that what you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, that's we support things like land back. The word obliterated, I think, is used because it's emotionally useful, but it's not specific. Like, what does that mean? What needs to happen is a revolution that recognizes humanity and not imperial conquest and profit seeking.
I mean, yeah. It occurs to me that we're in a kind of era where we're speaking about our borders and the nation state in this really fascist way that talks about the nation as if it was basically religiously bestowed upon us. And I think it enables a lot of the border fascism we see as it relates to the South. I
mean, it's just fascism, right? It's just fascism. Good old plain fascism.
The southern border of the country, but even in Europe, these are the kinds of things where they have to be deconstructed.
There's a book I would read. It's Palgrave Macmillan, so a sort of corporate publisher, but Critical Social Justice Education and the Assault on Truth in White Public Pedagogy, the U.S.-Dakota War Reexamined by Rick Liebeck, came out in 2020, goes into teaching the massacre of Dakota Indians during the Civil War and discussion of that as genocide and ethnic cleansing, and gets into the fact that, regardless of what Ron DeSantis or people say, we do not actually have a enlightened view of what happened in the conquering of this nation. And I do think that what's going on with our support of Israel is taking a certain type of person backward in that where they would have been able to admit a genocide. I think a lot of people still do, but I think a lot say, well, this is just how the world works.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe.
Yep. Matt is on point. I like that video, Cognizant. Check this out, chat. Check this out. Look at that. Wow. Old Growth Canopy, welcome. Yeah, we've been covering it, folks. If you can leave. If you haven't done so, leave. Leave or go to a shelter, because it is very serious. It is very, very, very serious. Leave. Do not stay. Do not stay there. This is not a hurricane party weather. This is not light. This is nothing to play around with. Seriously, if you can leave. If you can't evacuate, go to the shelters that have opened up. Contact your local counties. They will point you in the direction of your nearest shelter. There are shelters that are pet friendly. Just get out. Just get out. Yeah, when you got the luck to stay above the hurricane in space, that's how huge it is. You can see it. You can really get a good perspective. A good perspective on it. They say it's not the wind that's the most dangerous, but the storm surge. Yes, the storm surge. That's exactly it. That's why I was pointing to that area. In the coast. If you're in that red zone, and your local authorities have told you to evacuate, please leave or please go to the shelter. Because it's not safe. It really is not safe. Like, if you just absolutely cannot leave, like cannot evacuate out, then go to the shelters. Okay, go to the shelters. There's a few that have opened since yesterday, I think. Contact your local local county officials, because they will point you to where they are, and they will point you to which ones are open, which ones are pet friendly, what you need to bring with you. Like, just get out. Exactly. Just leave. Because I think Michael Hassler's quoted the Tampa mayor saying, like, you either leave or die, or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, just to piggyback off that Old Growth Canopy. Please, this is very serious. If you can, get out. If you cannot, go to the shelters. Now is the time. Now is the time. Do not at this point, just grab whatever you need and leave. Just go. Somebody, I can't remember, who said Milton is mathematically one of the strongest storms that can currently occur in our planet's atmosphere at this time. I believe it. The barometric pressure on this hurricane was off the charts. Like, it was on par with one of the strongest, if not the strongest. I think it was top. I think it was top 4. That on record, that since we've been able to keep records. It's definitely like the top 4, or in that top 4 category of hurricanes. The barometric pressure was astonishing. How low that barometric pressure dropped. I believe at one point it was under 900. I believe at one point it was under 900. That's just wild. I mean, I don't think have we even seen any storm like that in our lifetime that got that strong during that period? I don't remember. Yeah, I saw it at 903. Yeah, and it dropped below 900s. 894. Yeah, there you go. 894. 890, just below 900. That is just wild. That is just wild. So please take this seriously. The authorities are being real when they're telling people to leave. They're it's serious. you're in an evacuation zone, get out or go to the shelters that are available. Just the idea that you need to leave your home possibly twice per year is gladly something luckily will never happen to me. Yeah, here's like another like kind of thought, kind of on top of that. Like, I don't understand why, like, since clearly, like nobody's paying attention to the climate crisis, like why would people even live there at this point? Florida is going to experience like an economic cratering when people start realizing, like you said, that this is going to happen like at least twice a year. They're just going to start leaving in mass, and it's going to create a crater, economically speaking, because it's just not feasible. It's just not sustainable. They're not insuring places now. Yeah. Insurance companies are. I would be surprised, like if another like hundreds of thousands of policies just get thrown out as a result of Hurricane Helene. I think it was 600,000 policies are not people are not going to be insured anymore. Like, this is not sustainable because Tampa Bay Lightning are winning the Stanley Cup this year. It's just wild. Whew. God, say hello to your new neighbors, Carlos. Oh, man. Well, as we saw, hurricanes are not out of the question here either. So bad storms are not out of the question here either. Whew. It's not easy, Michael Hasser. It's not easy. I just have to deal with blizzards. Lucky me. Sheesh. If you wanted to move everyone living in an area affected by climate change, how many people would you move? 1 million, 2 billion? I don't know, but definitely tens of millions of people for sure. Tens of millions for sure. No areas are truly safe from climate change, but there are some areas that seem especially dangerous going forward. Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, folks, we got to move because I don't have that much time left. Here we have Donald Trump suggesting that people who are Kamala Harris supporters could be hurt by his own MAGA crowd at his rally. Listen. I saw another video where this other MAGA person was basically threatening to assault people for wearing Harris merchandise. And here we have Trump himself implying that identifying yourself as a Harris supporter could possibly get you hurt. This rhetoric is not calming down, folks. This rhetoric is not stopping from the right. This rhetoric from the right is not stopping. So personally, I don't think that we have to subject ourselves to bullies. Correct, fascism. Personally, I don't think that we should be submitting to bullies. And I think that defending yourself is within your right, especially if somebody's assaulting you. Because bullies, as I post here, are often cowards. Okay? and will fold with resistance. And mind you, this is the same people who were crying about rhetoric not that long ago. Not that long ago. So clearly that's out the window. And this type of rhetoric is not stopping from these fascist people. And they are violent. And they have a high propensity for violence. So, you know what? Yeah, I do think you should be prepared to defend yourself. And it is within your right to defend yourself. And you shouldn't have to take it from some bully that's assaulting you, you know? I don't think it's fair. And I don't think it's right. So, yeah, I think defending yourself is absolutely fine and within the law. The problem isn't that Trump is using existing lies, but he's inventing them. Yeah, and he's also weaponizing, like, violence. That's what it is. He's just whipping up his supporters into a violent frenzy that is all but ensuring an outcome where violence happens. But enough about me embellishing this. Let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Is there anybody here that's going to vote for Lion Kamala?
Lion Kamala.
Please raise your hand. Actually, I should say don't raise your hand. It would be very dangerous. We don't want to see anybody get hurt. Please don't raise your hand.
Yeah, like, so, again, he specifically says, like, who here is voting for Lion Kamala? And then he says, well, actually, you shouldn't raise your hand because, you know, it's very dangerous to identify yourself as a Kamala Harris supporter. And you know, you could be hurt, is what he says. I'll repeat it.
Actually, I should say don't raise your hand. It would be very dangerous.
Like, why would it be dangerous, right? If it wasn't because of the potential for violence.
We don't want to see anybody get hurt. Please don't raise your hand. Is anybody...
Like, that is unambiguous. That is unambiguous. So, you know what? This isn't stopping, okay? This type of language isn't stopping from them. And I think that people should kind of have that in their mind. Because, like, you know, when he says things like that, his supporters get the message. And I'm sorry, but, like, if you're going to assault people, expect for people to defend themselves, okay? If you're encouraging your thugs to go out and assault people because they're wearing the opposite merch, Lion Kamala, they have a Kamala Harris shirt, hat, bumper sticker, whatever, yard sign. You heard them support Kamala Harris. If you assault them, expect for people to defend themselves. And there's nothing wrong with defending yourself. There's nothing wrong with standing up to bullies. Said before, his upside is any foreigner with 5 years of English can understand him fluently. Yeah, the message is very clear, right? The message is clear. Don't identify as a Kamala supporter because you will be hurt. Like, there's no unambiguous, vague language. There's no, like, embellishments or rhetorical spin. There's nothing. It's just very plain and simple, as you say. As you say, Blue Brother. Very plain and simple. Like, hey, you know, if you're a Harris supporter, it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous for you here in MAGA world. So, you know what? I would say prepare to defend yourself. Because, like, if these people are going to go around and act like thugs and assault people and hurt people, It's just locker room talk. No, I like that one. It's just campaign trail talk. I like that one. If he's whipping up these thugs to go out and assault people based on their perceived team, whatever party, I don't know. Just prepare yourself, because I guarantee you that it's not just going to be that is not just going to be people who are like libs, who are all about the K-Hive, right? It's going to be anybody who they perceive as such, and that includes the left. That includes us. And that includes us. It's not just simply clear he's using the most simple vocabulary. Well, as he points out, that's because that's the limits that we're getting from him. All right, folks, we're gonna speed run. We're gonna speed run through some of these headlines. States sue TikTok claiming the platform is addictive and harms mental health for children. You know what? I might actually be on board with this. If we can get regulations of how these social media companies, do their algorithm, I'm on board with that. You know what I mean? Trump may see somebody's diabolically persistent. He has done what no other person has done in history, won the presidency with no political experience. Yeah. More than a dozen states and the District of Columbia filed a lawsuit against TikTok on Tuesday, saying that the popular short-form video app is designed to be addictive to kids and harm their mental health. The lawsuit stems from a national investigation into TikTok, which was launched in March 2022 by a bipartisan coalition of attorney generals from many states, including New York, California, Kentucky, and New Jersey. All of the complaints were filed in state courts. When I listen to any other U.S. politician, I need to concentrate myself to a certain degree, but not with Trump. I could understand him fluently, even if I were drunk. TikTok bad, Twitter good. No, both bad. Both need regulation. Both algorithm bad. I hope that they're all like, the whole point is like, maybe because I don't know, I think if it's just targeting like one social media company, that's no good. The point being is that if we can regulate the way these companies have their algorithm, then like that's a good thing. Meta good? No, they're all bad. At the heart of each lawsuit is TikTok algorithm. The only good social media is what are we on? Twitch. Yeah, there we are. Which powers users to see on the platform by populating the app's main For You feed with content tailored to people's interests. The lawsuit notes that TikTok designs features that say they're addictive to children on the platform, such as the ability to scroll endlessly through content, push notifications that come with built-in buzzes, and face filters that create unattainable appearances for users. They've chosen profits over the health and safety, well-being, and future of our children. Wow, that's just every company, to be fair. I think they should not have autoplay recommendations for children. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how, like, they're gonna end up, or how should they end up regulating the algorithms, but I think it's necessary to put some regulations. But with ADT, that would negatively affect their quarterly profits. We can't have that. True. How about parents putting limitations on kids and online use? True. But that's something like parents, that's something that parents can control, right? Like, that's something that you can control as a parent. But like, as far as like the company goes and like how they tailor their algorithms and their and their platform, that's on them, and I think that's deserving of regulation. But many won't. Yeah, stop body shaming us. California Attorney General Rob Bonta said at a news conference in San Francisco, and that is not something we can accept, so we've sued. The latest lawsuits come on nearly a year after dozens of states sued Instagram parent Meta Platform in state and federal courts, harming young people. Oh, look, they sued Meta too. There you go. They sued Instagram parent company Meta. There you go. And contributing to the youth mental health crisis by knowingly and deliberately designing addictive features that keep kids hooked on their platforms. Keeping people on the platform is how they generate mass ad revenue, said the DC Attorney General Brian Schwab in an interview, but unfortunately that's how they also generate adverse mental health impacts on users. Legal challenges, which also includes YouTube, are part of growing reckoning against social media companies and their effects on young people's lives. In some cases, the challenges have been coordinated in a way that resembles how states previously organized against tobacco and pharmaceutical industries. TikTok, though, is facing an even bigger obstacle as its very existence in U.S. is in question. Under a federal law that took effect earlier this year, TikTok could be banned from the U.S. by mid-January if its China-based parent company, ByteDance, are challenging the law that at an appeal court in Washington. A panel of 3 judges heard oral arguments in that case last month, are expecting to issue a ruling which could be appealed to the Supreme Court. Like, this is different. I would say, like, this is different because, like, the reasonings and, like, what they're trying to do here is completely off base, right? This is strictly, like, targeting TikTok because, like, I don't know, China bad or something. And because of in my opinion, attempts at actual censorship here. But like, to regulate these companies and how they behave, I think is perfectly fine. And it can't just be one of them. It's got to be all of them. In its filing Tuesday, the District of Columbia, called the algorithm dopamine-inducing and said it was created to be intentionally addictive so that the company could trap many young users into excessive use and keep them on the app for hours on end. Oh, guilty. TikTok does this despite knowing that these behaviors will lead to profound psychological and physiological harm such as anxiety, depression, body dysmorphia, and other long-lasting problems. TikTok is disappointed that the lawsuits were filed after the company had been working with the Attorney General for 2 years on addressing this issue. Quote, "We strongly disagree with these claims, many of which we believe to be inaccurate and misleading," said Alex Harrick. "We're proud and remain deeply committed to the work we've done to protect teens and will continue to update and improve our product." Sure. The social media company does not allow children under 13 to sign up for its main service and restricts some content for everyone under 18. But Washington and several other states said in their filings that children can easily bypass these restrictions, allowing them access to service adults use, despite the company's claim that its platform is safe for children. District of Columbia alleges TikTok is operating as an unlicensed currency within the platform and send gifts to streamers on TikTok Live who can cash it out for real money. TikTok takes a 50% commission on those financial transactions, but hasn't registered as money transmitter with the U.S. Department of Treasury or authorities in the district, according to the complaint. Officials say teens are frequently exploited for sexually explicit content through TikTok live streaming feature, which has allowed the app to operate essentially as a virtual strip club without any age restrictions. They say the cut the company gets from financial transactions allows it to profit from exploitation. I mean, that's just literally like that's just how capitalism works, really. The 14 attorney generals say the goal of their lawsuit is to stop TikTok from using these features, impose financial penalties for their alleged illegal practices, and collect damages for users that have been harmed. Yep. Old growth canopy. Yep. The use of social media among teens is universal in the nearly universal in the U.S. and many other parts of the world. Almost all teens from ages 13 to 17 in the U.S. report using social media platform. With about a third saying they use social media almost constantly, according to the Pew Research Center. High school students who frequently use social media more commonly have persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness, according to a new survey from the CDC conducted last year, which about 20,000 teenagers participated. Last week, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton sued TikTok, alleging the company was sharing and selling minors' personal information in violation of a new state law that prohibits these practices. TikTok, which disputes the allegations, is also fighting a similar data-oriented federal lawsuit against filed in August by the Department of Justice. That's another good point. That like the way data is used by these platforms is also like very, 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 very sketch. So like I also wouldn't mind taking a look at like how the way these companies use the data that they've mined essentially out of people. I think that like that's fair game as to regulate like how this data is used and force these companies to be more transparent. They're not the only platform, so why target TikTok? I think like the initial thing with TikTok was that like it is just like China bad. But like what's frustrating is that like underneath like there actually is a very good discussion to be had about all of these social media companies, because I agree it shouldn't just be TikTok. It should not just be TikTok. I'll have to get to bed now. I almost need a toothpick to keep my eyes open. See ya. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Have a good night. I'm a therapist, and the first recommendation that I give to all my clients is limit your time on social media. Chronic use is associated with many negative mental health outcomes. Yeah, and the studies reflect that. Absolutely. I completely agree. But as you were saying, Heat, I don't think it should be just TikTok. I think the concept of how these social media companies, their algorithms, and the way that they handle or mishandle data is worth looking at, regulating. Several Republican states, including Nebraska, Kansas, New Hampshire, they said Kansas twice, Iowa, and Arkansas, have also previously sued the company, some unsuccessfully, over allegations it's harming children's health, mental health, exposing them to inappropriate content, or allowing young people to sexually exploit on its platform. Too bad I'm a professional Twitch watcher. Good news! Twitch is not named in any of these. I think it's because Twitch doesn't really have like an algorithm. So it can't like do the things that YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. Does YouTube time count? It does. It does. I think YouTube YouTube Shorts counts. Yeah, hot tub meta safe. We got a couple of Supreme Court decisions. I mostly watch essays. ADT should do a hot tub stream. I'll green screen it, okay? I'll green screen it. I think we talked about this at one point. There's a green screen right there. There's a green screen right there in that drawer, okay? I'll just tape a green screen right up over this, and we can get to work, okay? You want a hot tub stream? Okay. We're going to do a hot tub stream right now. Hot tub time a stream. Like the movie. Okay, there's your hot tub. Okay. There it is. Hot tub stream. I feel so naughty. This is great content. There you go. Supreme Court declines Biden's appeal in Texas emergency abortion case. A Supreme Court order says hospitals cannot be federally required to provide pregnancy terminations when they violate a Texas abortion ban will stay for now. The decision is another setback for opponents of Texas abortion ban, which for 2 years have withstood multiple legal challenges, including for women who had serious pregnancy complications have been turned away by doctors. So that's nice. The 9 law wizards have decreed that, I guess, half the population, their lives don't matter. So that's nice. It left Texas as the only state where the Biden administration is unable to enforce its interpretation of federal law in an effort to ensure women have access to emergency abortions when their health or life is at risk. So, like, what is the point of federal governance, right? Like, that's what's so freaking frustrating, and that's why, like, you can't have you can't have state by you can't have this like on a state by state basis. This is unacceptable. The justices did not detail their reasoning for keeping in place the lower court order. There were no publicly noted dissents. Texas asked the justices to leave the order in place, while the Biden administration asked the justices to throw it out. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton called the decision a major victory. The administration argues that a federal law called the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, EMTALA, requires emergency rooms to provide abortions if a pregnant patient's health or life is at serious risk, even in states where the procedure is banned. The law only applies to emergency rooms that receive Medicare funding, which most hospitals do. Right, so, like, again, what is the purpose of having, like, a federal wing when you have decisions like this, right? The Supreme Court decision comes weeks before a presidential election in which Democratic nominee Kamala Harris has put abortion at the center of the campaign, attacking Republican challenger Donald Trump for appointing judges to the High Court who overturned the nationwide abortion rights in 2022. That's basically the gist of the gist of this here. Vote accordingly, folks. Vote accordingly. Last Supreme Court decision case that we're going to talk about here. Majority of Supreme Court appears to be receptive of Biden administration's limits on ghost guns. A majority of the Supreme Court appeared sympathetic on Tuesday today to the Biden administration's restriction on kits that allow people to make untraceable homemade guns. Wow. The case centered on whether the federal agency responsible for regulating firearms had acted lawfully in enacting a rule to address the surge in ghost guns, weapons made from kits available for purchase online and heralded as easy enough to assemble in less than an hour. Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar told the justices that the agency, the ATF, had responded to an explosion in crimes connected to the ghost guns. The reason you want a ghost gun is specifically because it's unserialized and can't be traced. Among the limits the agency imposed on the kits, requiring gun makers and sellers to be licensed to sell the kits, ensuring the products are marked with serial numbers that can be traced, and having would-be buyers bypass a background check. In recent years, the conservative wing of the court proved skeptical of allowing federal administration agencies too much leeway without the specific authorization of Congress. Last term, it overturned a Trump-era ban on bump stocks, firearm attachments that enabled semi-automatic weapons to fire at nearly the rate of a machine gun. But at least 5 of the justices on Tuesday seemed to favor the limits imposed by the Biden administration, with at least 2 conservatives, Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett, showing skepticism towards by the plaintiff. Gun manufacturers and gun owners who argued they should be able to purchase ghost gun kits. While Peter Patterson, a lawyer for the gun groups, argued that gun enthusiasts might enjoy building firearms from the kits, Chief Justice Roberts, who had until then largely been silent, questioned whether the kits were really aimed at hobbyists. He drew an analogy to people who love tinkering with cars. Drilling a hole or two, Justice Roberts says, doesn't give you the same reward. The same reward as working on your car on the weekends. Hilarious video, mate. Got a good laugh out of me. Even made the wife chuckle. You could call it even. You could even call it Skibidi, as the kids say these days. Cheers from the UK. Well, cheers. Mr. Patterson responded by pointing an effort to a reporter in California who ordered a gun kit to assemble. That reporter enlisted friends to help. Mr. Patterson appeared to refer to describe the person of buying and building a ghost gun shockingly easy. It sounds like copy pasta. It really does, but I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Although it centers on guns, the case before the court is not about the Second Amendment, but rather about the limits of the power of the administrative agencies. At issue is whether the ATF acted outside its bounds in issuing a regulation in 2022 to expand the definition of firearm under the Gun Control Act. The Biden administration asked the Supreme Court to intervene after lower courts blocked that 2022 regulation. So this is a good sign that it's possible that at least they might be open to keeping this regulation on ghost guns, because, like, seriously, it's kind of absurd that you would just allow unregulated firearms, right? Like no serial numbers, nothing. Yeah, it's the very least they could do. And, like, just to be clear, like, building a firearm, like having that firearm serialized doesn't stop you from being able to build a firearm. You just have to have the paperwork for it, right? So, like, no, this has nothing to do with, like, the Second Amendment. They're just complaining that the ATF is overstepping their bounds, but I don't think they are in this case. I don't think they are. Regulating, like, guns without serial numbers, I think, is perfectly fine, because that shouldn't exist. Okay, that shouldn't be a thing. That shouldn't be a thing at all. All right, folks. We just made it at 7:30 on the dot, almost. Thank you all for stopping by. Appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow at around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for modding the chat. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the biddies, Heat. I appreciate it. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Folks, don't forget, join the Discord if you want to hang out and get updates on the channel, and we also do movie events. So join the Discord, folks. There's a lot of friendly people in there, so hop in there. It's a very cozy place. If you want to support the channel, there are many different ways. Consider checking out the merch store, which I really, really like. We opened up this merch store almost 3 months ago. It's pretty freaking cool. I've got some stuff for myself, So definitely consider checking that out. And also, you can tip your streamer hitting !tip. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mouselander. I appreciate it. Thank you all for hanging out. Again, we'll be back tomorrow. And bring a friend, folks. Spread the word far and wide that we're here Monday through Thursday. This is one of the chillest places to be for the news and for the politics. I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out here. I finally have some dinero. Take another look soon. Thank you. I appreciate it. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you. See ya. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.